Good morning, everybody. Out here doing a little solo ride today. I was thinking about some of the comments I got on the channel about riding by yourself, you know, riding alone, solo rides. And thought I'd talk about what I do to make sure I'm riding safe by myself. Because everybody has their own level of risk acceptance, you know. Where's this trail go? So when I was younger, there wasn't any cell phones or anything like that, so it wasn't that big a deal to go out by yourself and be out of contact with the world. But nowadays it's a little bit bigger deal, I guess. So anyway, I don't really mind. I didn't really put a lot of thought into riding by myself. I just make sure that I mitigate the risk as much as I can. So I thought I'd just share with you guys what I do. So the very first thing I do is make sure that the bike is ready to go. You know, you don't want to be riding around on a ticking time bomb. I don't know how many times I've gone on a ride with some people and someone's bike breaks down and then they say, oh yeah, it's been doing that for a while now, or they say, oh yeah, it's not been wanting to run, or you know, they knew something was wrong with their bike and they went riding anyway, which is fine if you're with a group because you got a lot of help, a lot of support, a lot of tools. But if you're by yourself, it's probably a bad idea. So what I like to do is, number one, keep the bike clean. I wash it after every single ride. Because nobody wants to work on a dirty bike, right? Second thing I do is make sure between rides, I make sure I touch everything on the bike. You know, change the air filter, put a wrench on everything, make sure everything's tight, everything's good, get everything at once over. Because you know, a screw or a bolt might look fine, might look tight just looking at it. When you put your fingers on it or put a wrench on it, you realize it was about to fall out or it was loose. So number one, bike maintenance. Where that goes. I lost a single track. Right here. And the second thing I'll do is plan my trip. If I plan my trip, what I mean is know where I'm going and then let somebody know that I'm going to be there, right? So before I leave, I know what trails I want to ride. I'll let my girlfriend know exactly where I'm going to be, or at least a general area. Like today, she knows I'm up here in Utah, Warner Valley. So always let somebody know where you're going. Give them an idea of when you should be back. So if you're 4 or 5 hours overdue, they know to start looking for you, right? Another thing I'll do is make sure that I have a GPS with me. I always have a GPS or a trail go. That way I can always find my way back to the truck no matter what, you know. Let's go this way. No, that ain't it. That way I always know where I always know my way back to the truck, you know. It's pretty important, especially when you're riding trails that you're not super familiar with, because you want to Always make sure you know where your truck is, how to get back, how far it is. You want to know how far you've rode so you're managing your fuel. That's just part of the bike maintenance part and the preparation. You make sure you're managing the fuel and stuff. A lot of traction up here. Lots of traction. All right, now since we're talking about GPSs, it's kind of steep. I like to, this GPS that I have has a, I don't like this. Has an SOS function on it, so if I get in trouble I can push a button on the GPS, it'll send a signal out, my dispatcher will answer, and I'll be able to communicate with them through the GPS. You know, they're not going to just send a rescue right away. It's going to put you in touch with a dispatcher. You get to talk to them for a while, see what's going on. They'll get help on their way, but not any slower than sending a rider out for help, right? It's not any slower than sending someone to help for help. So, and another function with this GPS is it has a text function on it that costs a bunch of money. It's about 50 bucks a month for the text-to-talk function. Ah, shit, I should have kept going, right? Well, you know, I had my momentum there and I chickened out. I could have made it. So anyway, this GPS got a text function where I can text people if there's no communication, no phone reception. It's pretty badass, actually. Nice. So we're talking about this GPS. It has the SOS, has a push to talk, so I can, or not push to talk, but it has a text to talk, so I can actually text home, let them know where I'm at, even if there's no phone service, which is pretty dang cool. It also has one more function. It's a tracking function. Damn. It also has one more function. It's a tracking function. That when you enable it, people can track where you're at on the computer or on their phone. And what it does, like I said, it's a $50 a month subscription, but what it does is it'll drop a ping every 2 minutes, and it'll let them know how fast you're going, where you're at. It's pretty dang handy. So when I'm on the ride like today, I send a ping or a thing to the girlfriend. She gets a phone notification, and then she can just check her phone every now and then to see where I'm at. So if she sees me on there in one spot for 4 hours out on the trail, that means that there might be a problem, right? And she'll know exactly where I'm at. That's the same information that the SOS will send to the fire and rescue or whoever's coming to get you. They'll know right where you're at. This is a cool trail. So riding by yourself isn't a death sentence. Some people, I mean, I've met people that won't ride at all by themselves. They refuse to go alone. But sometimes that means that you're never going to go riding if you're going to wait for somebody the whole time. It's pretty steep too. So, you know, you can wait to ride with somebody. It's good if you have a good group of people. I do have a pretty good group of guys from Vegas, but we don't always get together, so I wanted to go riding today, this weekend. So here we are, but we're by ourselves, right? Nice. I have to admit, it would have been nice to have a trail guide on this trail. Would have been nice. Look at that. That's a nice view. I'll pull these goggles off. So another thing I take into consideration when riding by myself is kind of going prepared, right? So what do I bring in my pack? First thing I bring always, even on a short ride or even on a group ride, is I'll bring 3 liters of water. And yeah, it weighs something, it's heavy, I agree, but you know, I see people run out of water all the time, and then they got to ride out with no water. That just sucks. I don't want to sit around and conserve water and not drink water when I'm thirsty. That's just bad too, right? So I always just bring 3 liters. I put a little electrolyte in it. Oops. Put some electrolyte in there. Look at that, that's cool. So 3 liters of water minimum anytime I ride. If I don't drink it all, I don't drink it all, but I've never ran out of water yet with that bladder. Keep stalling the bike today. So next thing I have in there is some, I always have snacks. I usually have some sport beans in there. Usually have sport beans and then some Cliff Bars. Cliff Bars got a crap ton of calories, like 300 calories. And then in one of my front pockets I carry a little bit of camera stuff, batteries and stuff. Not too much. I also have a small first aid kit, which I actually don't have with me today. Has a couple little things in it. You know, if you fall on the trail and scratch yourself up, you're not gonna sit there and put band-aids on it and everything else. You're just gonna ride out and take care of that stuff in the truck usually. But I do have a couple bandages, some band-aids, some of them great big band-aids for road rash, you know. I got some ibuprofen in there, aspirin. And then also in the first aid kit, I have one of them emergency rain ponchos. Doesn't weigh anything, doesn't take up much space. Then I have one of those foil emergency blankets in there too. You know, it doesn't weigh anything, so why not? In the emergency first aid kit, I also have some waterproof strike on anything matches and a little bit of lint. Lint is a really good fire starter out of your dryer. Yeah, it's beautiful up here. So I have everything I need for the most part if I end up having to stay the night somewhere, you know. You know, staying the night out in the boonies ain't that big a deal if you can get a fire started and you have a little bit of water with you and a Cliff Bar. you're probably going to be all right. And I know that the possibility of that is really slim. I mean, but you know, I ride in Colorado a lot on some pretty remote trails up in the mountains, and you know, things went sideways and you were trying to walk out and you had to stay over. It'd be nice to have that blanket, some matches, stuff like that. So even though the chances are pretty slim, the items in your pack really don't weigh that much. So look at that, that is awesome. Quite the view. I don't really know where I'm going. I don't know if this is the trail or not. Yeah, there it is over there. So and then the last thing in my pack is a toolkit. I have two different toolkits that I'll bring. If I'm riding with a big group of people, then I'll just bring the factory toolkit that came with the bike, right? It's got your very, very basic tools in it. I'll just bring that. It's a bit lighter. Might be even up to a couple pounds lighter than my other one. But then on solo rides like today, I bring a much more serious toolkit. Where'd the trail go? That way, huh? Anyway. So in this toolkit, I have got a little bit of everything, and maybe I'll do a video on what's in there actually. I got a little bit of everything in there. You know, put a little thought into it, but while still trying to save weight. What I really think would be useful, and what I'd never ever use, I guess. So I have some basic tools. I have some JB Weld, the putty for in case I punch a hole in the case or something. I have a small roll of, little bit of duct tape. I got a little bit of mechanics wire. Just a small amount of mechanics wire. I should just go through it one day with you guys. Have some of the big zip ties. Those are always handy. I was on a ride one time, and I was up here in Utah as a matter of fact, and I ran into a guy on the trail. He had a flat tire, rear flat. The tire was off the rim, and he was out there kind of in the middle of the Tokerville. So we got his tire back on the rim, and we zip tied it back onto the rim. We just put the zip ties between the lugs on the tire, and we zip tied it to the rim so couldn't come off. Just to be sure, we used mechanics wire and we wired it to the rim also. So those tools they really paid off that time. You can just ramp right off of this, pushing the bike. Being a sissy. The very last thing I have for tools on board is one of them little battery jump boxes. So if I ever need to jump my bike or somebody else's bike, it's there. So it has a small battery that's big, and then some jumper wires. Cool thing about that jump box is I can use it as for a battery for my camera too. If I run out of battery for my camera, which pretty much never happens since I got this external battery. I don't really have any problems with that, but so for my solo rides, my pack is, I'll have to admit, it's heavier than I want because I'd rather not have any pack at all. I just learned to carry the extra weight. It's not that big a deal. I think I weighed this pack once before I did the Big Bear race, and it was, I forget. I think the total weight with everything on board was 13 pounds, but like 9 pounds of that was water. So that ain't bad. Might have covered that in one of my other videos, actually. That's kind of it. I was kind of rambling on there a little bit, but that's really everything I do to ride solo, just to mitigate the risk. I'm not saying there is no risk. With a little bit of preparation, you know, you give yourself a peace of mind, you know, that you're prepared. And then if something does go wrong, well, you are prepared. Simple as that. I don't really know where I'm going here. views up here, really nice. I mean, you could easily comparable to Moab. I mean, it's not as red rocks, but it's beautiful all the same. And there's just trails out here for miles and miles. Look at all the trails down there. You probably can't see them because of my camera, but trust me, they're there. Whoa. Let's go this way, huh? It's a really nice trail. I mean, it's really nice. It's not terribly difficult. I went around some of the harder parts that I didn't really trust. Pretty nice though. Now, one of the things about riding by myself that, I mean, probably everybody experiences is I'm much less likely to try a harder line when I'm riding by myself, you know? I just won't do it. I don't want to wreck and get hurt, one thing. But another thing is if I see somebody else do it first, gives me a lot more confidence, you know. You see how fast they're going, you see what happens, all that. So, you know, like that right there, I could do that, but I don't want to wreck my bike or anything and be stuck up here. So we're going to take that way. Maybe if there's other people here and I watch somebody else go up that, well, I'd probably do it too, but we're not doing it today. Taking the chicken route. Glad that I picked this trail today. Look at that. I want to go up that. Yeesh. I'm glad I rode this trail today. I was gonna go up top over there on the other side of the valley. And I decided just to see what this was all about. It's a really good trail. where the trail went. Oh, it's over there. Comes out right there. Should have went down over there. All right, let's walk it. It's bulldogging. Oh, it's our trail over there too. That's why I need a trail guide. Well, there we go. That was a fun trail. Didn't take that long. All right, I'm gonna go. We'll go have some lunch and come back out right on our trail. But except for this one. So till next time, see you guys on the next trail. Later.